answers with these. So whatever comes into your
Okay.
head, yeah? The less you think about it, probably
Yeah,
the
sure.
better for everyone. What quality do you like
Yeah,
about
yeah, do it.
yourself the most?
Presence, as in being present.
What quality do you like the least?
If I was in an interview for a job, I'd say being a perfectionist, but that simply isn't true
Uh-huh,
because
uh-huh.
I don't care. Indifference,
What about others? What quality do you like in others?
sincerity, warmth,
And what do you like least in other people?
posturing,
What's your favorite word today?
dirigible.
Dirigible. Is that like a form of vehicle or
Yeah,
anything
it's
like
like a
that?
zeppelin.
Right. What's your least favorite word today?
Um, credit crunch.
What's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory is lying on my back in a cot playing with a plastic toy, like one of those mobile things.
Hmm. What's your favorite smell?
Smoke from a bonfire.
I thought you were going to say from a bong for a minute there.
No, not right now, no.
Okay. What's your idea of heaven?
Flying unaided, as we do in dreams.
And what's your idea of hell?
Being consumed by mind.
Hmm. Yeah, I can relate to that. Okay, so those are 10 questions.
Okay.
To you personally, to everyone listening, if there's anyone has any ideas or suggestions about more variations on these questions, I was just looking for a very simple intro, and it's kind of like to get a sort of personal profile summed up in a very short period of time was the idea behind
Yeah.
these. So yeah, if you have any ideas about other questions that might be appropriate, let me know. Okay, so now we've got questions for the end times. As you know, there's 64 of these questions. I've tried to make each of them as sort of in depth and as, I guess you could say, abstract, as non-leading as possible. They're on subjects ranging from sorcery to conspiracy to alien abduction to reincarnation, death, you name it. Pretty much the whole gamut of the things that I know that both of us are interested in. So I don't know how you want to do this, but essentially I just need a number to start with between 1 and 64. And if it turns out that it's a question that you've got absolutely nothing to say about, then just say nothing and just give me another number and we'll just proceed in that
Okay.
spirit.
Okay. 10.
Question number 10. This is something that I know that you're interested in. Psychedelics. Are they
Ha. Okay.
are they a valid tool for awakening gnosis? And what are the drawbacks, if any?
Yes, they are, and there's no question about that. And I feel that anybody who thinks that the only path to heightened awareness is through slog and hard work and massive amounts of zazen, then they're wrong. So I think what the entheogen, what the psychedelic gives you, is the opportunity to do what I kind of think of as a radical tuning. In that, the if you imagine the laser of consciousness as always on a certain frequency, taking various entheogens will turn that dial. And from just a quick overview of these things, geographically we all have our own entheogens. So here in Europe, it's really the mushroom, certainly in England.
Hmm.
If you're in, South America or the jungles, Belize, Guatemala, etc., you may be talking about ayahuasca. If you're in the deserts of Mexico, it could be peyote, etc. And I think there's a sense in using geographically what is near you, because there's some sort of cultural string within that that brings the right kind of symbol set and lexicon to you in the altered state. So I think if I leapt out of here tonight from my home in the UK and went to Peru and sat in a backwater with a curandero, I'd probably it'd be like looking out of a train that's traveling at 1,000 miles an hour with much of the landscape too difficult to distinguish. Whereas the psilocybin mushroom, for example, is paced better and is slower and more geographically anchored, if you like, if that makes sense. So I
Hmm.
think that these things offer an alternative mode of consciousness, and they're to be, approached in a sacred manner. They're here for our use. You can, as one sort of podcaster puts it, stumble over yourself backwards into a revelation or an epiphany, even if you're just doing this for a laugh. But generally, it seems that the entities and the mindset and the being that permeates these states is more um, empathetic to those who come with intent and integrity and a certain level of respect.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely been my experience. Um, I was actually thinking about this just this morning, just like an hour ago. I was thinking about thinking back to my experiences on psychedelics, are some of the most transformative and annihilating experiences. For example, do you have any experience of salvia divinorum?
Yes, I do actually. It's funny you say that. It's still freely available in the shops over here in the UK. So one of my colleagues was exploiting that situation recently, and we were discussing it. And I was doing some research for him that Daniel Siebert carried out. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
I think he's one of the guys who was responsible for extracting salvinorum, which is the sort of active ingredient, which is, it's unusual because it's not quite like other tryptamines.
Mm,
Um, and he said of all the things, even DMT, this is to be approached with caution
mm,
because it seems to be available in anything from kind of 5 strength to 60 strength, I believe,
mhm,
which is an enhanced herbal variety of it. So I think in its raw state, it's leaves that you chew, and it's quite a gentle onset, and it's quite a harmonious effect. Whereas if you go onto certain video sites on the internet and type in salvia, you'll just see 14-year-olds in high school falling down the back of the settee
mhm,
because they're doing it for a trip, and it's very, very ugly and very awful. And of course, these are the things that get picked up on. So yeah, it's interesting. It's one of the few things that's freely available that is completely natural, and you can walk into a shop and buy it in, Chester High Street.
right.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that people haven't kind of cottoned onto yet. Experience-wise, I think that the sensations and textures of it are different to some of the other tryptamines, as I say. So it is different. I've not quite formulated my opinions on it yet. So one lady who corresponds with me through my blog, she's kind of been pushing me toward doing a piece on it because not many people are actually writing about it. It's quite rare. The nearest I've seen is there is a book by a guy, I forget his name now, about his experiences with it, and he said even more than the mushroom with this herb, and the name derives from the divinest sage, Salvia divinorum.
Mhm,
Um, it has a distinct communication in that the beings on the other side seem very, very real, dependent on yourself, will depend on how they transform and present themselves, but irrespective of your belief system and quite independent of your state of mind, their presence is kind of indisputable more than anything else, and that's the thing that touches people. Whereas if you've taken 60 strength, it's a blur. If you take 5 strength, it's manageable. I don't know if you've had personal experience, but that's what I've found.
well, I've never tried. I only even just found out there was such thing as 60 strength. Um, Actually, this moment I'd
I
heard
know it's
about.
madness.
It's insane. Yeah, I'd heard about 40 strength, and now I've found out the 60 strength. But I'd only ever tried uh, the 10 times strength extract. I had the 5 and the 10 times extract, and yeah, the 10 was certainly adequate. And I I